I was immersed in the usual murmur of teenagers dragging chairs and organizing folders until the door opened. It wasn't our usual teacher, but a woman in her 40s, with a stern but weary gaze, who introduced herself as Mrs. Brennan, our substitute. She took the attendance list in a firm hand and began the ritual of calling roll. The names were called out one after another in a dull cadence until she reached mine. Alejandro Bashenko, she pronounced. When she looked up and saw me, her face underwent a terrifying transformation. The color drained from her cheeks, her pupils dilated, and the paper she was holding began to vibrate violently between her fingers. "That's impossible," she murmured, loud enough for silence to descend upon the room. "You shouldn't exist." The classroom became a tomb. I felt all my classmates' eyes piercing the back of my neck like pins. "What did she say?" someone whispered from the back. The woman wouldn't take her eyes off me, as if she were looking at a ghost or some kind of freak of nature. "Is your last name really Bashenko?" "Son of Thomas Bashenko," she insisted, her voice cracking. When I nodded, confused and with my heart pounding in my ribs, she dropped the folder, covered her mouth with both hands, and practically stumbled out of the classroom, leaving us in a complete void of answers. That night, the atmosphere at home was strangely heavy. When I got back from my Beyblade club, I found my dad in the kitchen, deep in thought over a steaming cup of coffee. I sat down across from him and dropped the bombshell without warning. Today, a substitute teacher, Amy Brennan, almost fainted when she said my name. She said I shouldn't exist. The effect was immediate. My dad dropped his spoon, which clattered against the floor with a metallic sound that seemed to last forever. His gaze, always confident and warm, turned dull, lost in a memory from 2 decades ago. "Amy," he whispered, closing his eyes tightly. "She and I were together long before I met your mother. We were young, deeply in love, and I was about to ask her to marry me. I had the ring hidden in the nightstand drawer. But one day, without a note, without a call, she simply left. She erased her trace from my life as if she'd never been there. The next day, curiosity and fear led me to look for Mrs. Brennan after school. I found her in the empty classroom, erasing the blackboard with mechanical movements. When she saw me enter, she stopped dead in her tracks. "I spoke with my father," I said firmly. "He told me you left him without explanation. Why did you react like that yesterday?" She turned slowly, her eyes red with sleeplessness. She studied my face, tracing my features as if searching for a mathematical proof. "Are you adopted, Alejandro?" she asked. When I assured her I wasn't, her face went from pale to utter horror. "I need to speak with your parents. Both of them. Right now." The meeting took place an hour later. The classroom, bathed in the orange light of the setting sun, felt like an interrogation room. My father walked in and froze at the sight of Amy after 20 years. My mother followed, confused and visibly nervous. Amy wasted no time with pleasantries. She looked my father straight in the eye and blurted out the truth she had kept hidden like poison. "Thomas, I left you because I was a nurse at the clinic where you had those routine tests done. I was unethical, I know. I analyzed your fertility samples without your permission because I wanted to be sure we could have children before I said yes to marriage." The silence in the classroom was so heavy it was hard to breathe. Amy continued in an icy voice. "The results were conclusive, Thomas. You're infertile. Your count is 0. It always has been. You couldn't have children, and I didn't have the courage to tell you I knew, nor did I want a life without offspring. That's why I ran away. That's why seeing this boy yesterday, with your last name and your features, made me feel like the world was going mad." My father let out a nervous laugh, a desperate denial. "That's crazy. My son is here. I've watched him grow up. He has my eyes, my personality." But as he spoke, his voice trailed off as he noticed my mother shrinking in her chair, hiding her face in her hands. Tears began to soak her fingers. "Tell him he's lying," my father pleaded, but my mother could only manage a broken sob. "I'm sorry, Thomas," she finally managed to say. "We had a crisis right before the wedding. I made a mistake with someone from my past. When I found out I was pregnant, you were so happy, you wanted to be a father so badly that I decided that secret would die with me. I thought I was giving you a gift, not living a lie for you. Did I end that instant? The world as I knew it vanished. My father stepped back, slamming his fist on a desk, looking at the woman he loved and the son he thought was his, as if they were complete strangers. 20 years of hugs, advice, and family life dissolved into the stale air of a high school classroom, all because of a name read aloud on an attendance list.